Couple Caitlin Clark cameos here and there just to appease everybody, okay? Just to appease everybody. That's what we're gonna do. But the day after, that's when we really roll out.
Nike has landed itself in hot water after what seemed like a major win during the Super Bowl quickly turned into a PR nightmare.
So it looked like Nike has found himself in a world of trouble after this big-time Super Bowl commercial.
The sportswear giant featured Caitlin Clark front and center in a high-profile commercial, seemingly recognizing her as one of the biggest stars in women's basketball. Fans were thrilled, thinking Nike had finally embraced Clark's impact. But less than 24 hours later, things took a sharp turn when Nike released another promotional ad for a commemorative t-shirt featuring all the athletes from their Super Bowl commercial. The problem? Every other athlete's name was mentioned, except Clark's. This wasn't just a small oversight, it felt intentional. Fans immediately took to social media to voice their frustration, questioning why Clark, arguably the biggest name in the ad, was completely ignored. Nike had the perfect opportunity to continue capitalizing on her star power, yet they fumbled. The backlash was swift, with fans calling out the blatant omission and accusing Nike of disrespecting one of the most popular female athletes in the game today. For many, this wasn't just about one ad. It was the latest example of a pattern where Nike has failed to properly support Clark. From delays in sneaker releases to marketing that feels half-hearted compared to other athletes, the company has struggled to figure out how to position her. This misstep only added fuel to the fire, reinforcing the belief that Nike isn't giving her the recognition she deserves. The outrage wasn't just mild frustration, it was full-blown anger. Fans started calling for a boycott, declaring that if Nike couldn't respect Clark, they wouldn't be spending their money on the brand. The frustration boiled over to the point where some even compared Clark's treatment to being the Lord Voldemort of Nike marketing, the athlete who must not be named. The joke was meant to be funny, but the underlying message was serious. It was a clear sign that fans were not letting this go. Some pointed fingers at Clark's representation, suggesting that if she had stronger management, this wouldn't have happened. The argument was that if she were represented by an agency like Clutch Sports, known for aggressively negotiating top-tier deals for its clients, Nike wouldn't have dared to leave her out. Instead, Clark's deal with Nike, a reported 8-year, $24 million contract, is now being scrutinized. Fans believe she could have secured a much better deal elsewhere, possibly with a brand that would actually prioritize her. The financial implications for Nike could be massive. Clark's fan base is one of the most loyal and engaged in women's sports, and upsetting them is not a smart business move. Companies rely on star athletes to drive sales, and alienating one of the most marketable players in basketball could backfire badly. Many fans pointed out that Under Armour had reportedly offered Clark a 4-year, $16 million deal, which would have given her more flexibility and a faster path to renegotiation. Instead, she's locked into a long-term deal with a brand that, at least from the outside, doesn't seem to be prioritizing her. Beyond Clark, this situation highlights a much larger issue in women's sports marketing. Major brands often hesitate to fully invest in female athletes, treating them as secondary to their male counterparts. Even when they do get attention, it sometimes feels like an afterthought rather than a genuine push to elevate them. This latest controversy with Nike only reinforces that perception, making fans wonder if the brand truly values women's basketball or if it was just using Clark's name for a temporary boost during the Super Bowl. Now, Nike is at a crossroads. The backlash isn't dying down, and with calls for a boycott growing louder, they have to decide whether to fix their mistake or risk losing Clark, and potentially a large segment of their consumer base. Fans aren't just looking for an apology. They want real recognition for Clark, and they want Nike to prove that she's not just an accessory to their marketing campaigns, but a key figure they truly support. This isn't the first time Nike has faced criticism for how they handle women's sports, but it might be one of the most public and damaging cases. If they don't address this soon, they risk pushing Clark towards another brand willing to treat her like the superstar she is. The ball is in Nike's court, but if they keep mishandling it, they might find themselves losing one of the biggest names in basketball to a competitor who actually understands her worth.